Hey y'all, we're back on live. Let me just double check. I always do this. Let me double check to make sure we're looking good, so I don't have to redo this. Oop. Oop, oop, oop. Okay. Y'all heard all that. I'm sorry. Okay, hold on. Okay, we look good. Okay, we look good. Yes. Okay, hi guys. Yes. So today, or rather tonight, whenever you're watching this, we're gonna talk about the fear of being seen. I wanted to do this video because I needed a little pick me up. I'm not gonna hold you. Just to be really vulnerable with y'all, I have been kind of isolating myself from other people for about like a year now, and it hasn't been intentional. It's just I'm already a very introverted person, and on top of that, I have social anxiety, right? And so when I first moved to Charlotte, I did a lot of exposure therapy so that I could kind of figure out, like how to get out and meet new people because I was like, okay, if I'm gonna like move to a whole new city and I'm working from home, I need to be outside, like physically talking to people and, trying to make connections and stuff like that. Just so I wasn't fucking alone, you know what I'm saying? So, um, I built a lot of these soft skills with with trying to unveil my social anxiety and, be a little bit more open and vulnerable. And it got me pretty far, like I made a lot of great experiences and connections, and I've had a lot of cherished moments here. um and if you guys have watched my video about like how I lost everything, um the the time of grief that I had to spend, and also the time that I like lost my job, like those were the most isolating times for me in this period of my life. And being in a relationship that wasn't really allowing me to do more exposure therapy after that, it kind of like dipped and dipped and dipped that tolerance for myself to really like get back out there and talk to people. So I'm literally able to do it. Like I'm not like a mute or anything. Um, but sometimes it feels that way, and sometimes um like sometimes I'm able to kind of tell that I'm a little weaker and my tolerance has gone down, and it's just kind of been like getting to me a little bit. But um what I wanted to do today was really get into the fear of being seen and how to overcome that. And so I really have this great video by the content creator Jasmin Siri. I watched her video a while ago, and it really changed my life in terms of how I saw, being seen, and how I saw ways to attaining to get to where I want to go and gaining that confidence. And so I just wanted to watch it tonight and wanted to have us, just watch it, react to it, and talk about it. And yeah, so let's jump into it. See if I can get that up. There she is. She's so beautiful. I love watching her. But yes, this video is really great. So let's jump into it.
Uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. I think we should just rip the Band-Aid off here. And I think as we grow older and we start to reveal more and more of ourselves in the way that we think on social media, you start to recognize that we all have this one thing in common. We have no shame. And it's so funny because more and more people are living out loud and showing themselves on social media. And you see that there is a clear spectrum. There are some people that choose to show an outfit or a beauty routine or two. And there are some people that show a lot more. And we won't get into the details about the things that they show, but we know that it exists. And you're probably thinking to yourself, like so many others, wow, I can't believe that they're revealing so much about themselves. These people have no shame. And you're absolutely correct. They have no shame, and neither should you. I think we have to define our own boundaries as what we are willing to share, but the shame about what we do share should completely subside. No matter what, people that are sharing their lives, they're doing it unapologetically. And I think the key to get you over the hump of existing in your authentic self is existing in a life without shame, so that we can get closer to living in our purpose without limitations. So welcome to the Raw and a Half podcast, where we get real and then some. I am your...
And I just wanted to pause here real quick because she made a really good point in terms of, I think the key to getting to a place of being comfortable with feeling seen is giving up shame. And for humans, we're not going to be able to do that 100% of the time, but I think for each of us, we need to find the threshold in which there's that kind of halfway point between shame so big that, it doesn't allow us to connect with people, give ourselves to the world, and be our most authentic selves versus, okay, I'm still holding and I'm still living, with a little bit of shame, but I'm able to authentically be who I want to be, and that shame is not allowing me, it's not anchoring me down to feel less than or to feel closeted or blanketed in being who I want to be. And I think a lot of the times I personally feel that way where, like, I even had an incident today where, I kind of just came home and I was like, oh my God, like, why can't I just be normal? Why can't I just do what everybody else is doing and do the thing? And I would say, like, in my therapy journey, my therapist had, and this goes into some other things, but when I was speaking with my therapist about it, it feels like a lot of guilt is wrapped around the fact that there is like a lack of self-compassion, but also it's like people are not gonna kind of like hold and blanket and soothe like a baby like your guilt if you are not kind of doing the same thing. I think it also comes back to the fact that like people are mirrors, and we've all met people, and we've all met people that may treat us kinder than we think that we deserve, depending on kind of your thinking and level on that. Um, but I mean, for the most part, your friends and the people that you stick around there, they're mirrors to who you are. And so if you, what am I trying to say? Like, if you, if you don't take care of that factor and that threshold that I mentioned before, um, it's going to be hard to cultivate real, genuine, authentic, um, vulnerable relationships that will get you there, that will get you to a point of not feeling so much shame, you know. But what she said is super spot on, and like I was saying, when my therapist and I were talking about it, it just goes back to the fact of making sure that you're that the things that you are hiding from others and even maybe hiding from yourself, you have to get comfortable with them. And you have to get okay with like seeing your demons, seeing your dark side, and being okay with displaying them and allowing people to see them and hold you tight and say, oh man, that sucks, or oh man, I'm sorry you're going through that, but like I still love you and I am still here. Like this is not allowing me to move out of your life or disband from you or whatever. And I think just overall, that vulnerability and then the acceptance of the aftermath, I think will kind of like dig down some of that shame. But on the other end, there is a self portion of it where it's like you yourself have to be okay with that shame in order for others to like consume that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay. I'm just gonna. I don't want to like take too much of her video, so I'm just gonna like fast forward a little bit more.
The very first step in identifying your fear of being seen is getting to the root cause. Understand why you fear being seen. Is it due to past experiences, insecurities, or social anxiety? Identifying the root cause can help you address it more effectively. I had to challenge those negative assumptions about who I was. Often, the fear of being seen is fueled by negative thoughts and feelings about ourselves. And it's our job to challenge those thoughts by asking ourselves, are these thoughts rational or based on assumptions? We can't heal what we don't unpack. And a while back, I had this epiphany that my mind was just a folder, that storage was full of uncomfortable memories or scenarios from my past that shaped me. And a big part of gaining my confidence was finally cleaning out the old junk files of my past and in my mind.
That's another. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I did not show you the video, but I hope you heard that. But she specifically was saying, and I'm sure that you guys heard it, but she specifically was saying that, in order for us to start getting comfortable with being seen, we do have to find the root cause of why we're scared of being seen, and also like what is shaming us. And this is big yes. And this is actually something that I've been working on in my personal life with my therapist. And something I've realized is that no matter what type of trauma or hardships you've gone through and made it out of, they still impact you. You still hold on to that, even if it's just a smidge. You still hold on to that as you continue to move forward in your life. And some things, they don't hit you as hard, and other things can bruise you. And sometimes, as humans, especially in this world where sometimes it feels like we're not allowed to take time to hold space for ourselves and to really like feel and allow people to help us feel and be there for us, sometimes it almost feels like to add on to my analogy, sometimes it feels like you can get bruised. It's hard for you to walk. Say you get bruised on your leg. It's hard for you to walk. Visibly, it's big. It's darker pigmented. It hurts to touch. It's sensitive to touch. And instead of having a friend see it and maybe try to tend to it, instead of putting ice on it, instead of looking and being like, ooh, that looks bad, let me go to the urgent care or the doctor, we tend to look at it and say, I don't like that, and it looks like it hurts. Well, let me just put on some pants and nobody's gonna see it, and maybe hopefully one day it'll go away and I just don't have to put on these pants anymore. Like maybe I can wear like a skirt or some shorts or whatever. And you see where I'm going with this, right? Like, you're covering up the bruise. And it's like, eventually, yeah, the bruise can go on it go the bruise can heal and go on its own. But if it's really, really, really bad and so bad that you have to see a doctor for it, it's not going to fully heal. You know what I'm saying? And the pigment can go away, and the swelling can go away, and the pain maybe doesn't hurt as much. But if it's really bad, it's not going to go away. And hopefully that analogy made sense, because I say that in the sense that that is us, right? It's like something really traumatic happens, and instead of talking to a friend about it, or confiding in a family member, or going to therapy, or just sitting and allowing ourselves to cry, or just say, like, gosh, I'm sad, and I just wish this never happened to me, and I am in so much pain. We just put on pants and we just say, like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. And then we just try to move on with our lives without really digging deep into the psyche. And a lot of the times, without really addressing the problem, it can harbor in a lot of trauma, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of reservation, fear, and that gets exploited in ways that doesn't equate to just the trauma that we faced. Right? So, to her point, we have to address the problems and the issues that are facing our lives. And if we don't feel comfortable enough to confide in a friend or a family member or somebody, in our social circle, like, mental health is there. And it's hard too, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, like, maybe I don't have, like, the money for it or the resources, or maybe they're not even in, like, a safe place where they feel comfortable doing that, or getting the transportation to go, or whatever. But either way, it's like, help is out there, and in whatever way you can get it, being therapy, like your social network, or even just sitting with yourself and really, like, looking in the mirror, or journaling, or being in a quiet space and just saying, hey, am I okay? What is really going on here? I promise you that will make so much of a difference. Um, and I've heard this from, like, two therapists now, because I had a previous one, um, in the other state that I was in. Both therapists, my old one and my current one, they've both said that the way to release trauma and the way to get better is to talk it out, to let somebody know, to keep vocalizing, to keep speaking, to keep letting out your feelings. Because if it's not being let out, it's staying in. And if it's staying in, your body is gonna do what it does. Whether that's shame, whether that's joint pain, whether that's brain fog, it's gonna find a way to store and manage things as best as they can. And a lot of the times that's fear, and a lot of the times that's guilt. Um, and then I want to play more. But before I do that as well, if anybody doesn't know, there's a really good book out there, and it's called The Body Keeps the Score. Forgot who it's by, but I'll put it in the description when I'm done. But that book is so great, and it really literally breaks down everything I'm saying right now. And it's like, it breaks it down scientifically. So, I'm just not saying a whole bunch of like jibber jabber. But yes, it's so good. And it definitely breaks down the body mind connection. And it allows you to really get into how unprocessed and unhealed trauma stays and kind of like corrupts the body if left untouched. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because it's a really good resource and I recommend everybody read it. Okay, I'm gonna flip back. And then we're just gonna, like I said, we're just gonna fast forward. I don't want to like take her whole video, but okay. The next section she has the self-compassion.
This self-compassion. Be good to yourself. Remember that everyone has vulnerabilities and imperfections. Treat yourself with the same compassion and kindness that you would offer a friend. I realized that in order to take a step further in my truth, I needed to build a deep sense of trust within myself. And becoming my own best friend was the key to doing that. And truly, it wasn't until I exercised the strength of the friendship that I had with myself that I really understood what being a friend actually meant. And really what it looks like, which is being honest with my boundaries enough to know when they're not being honored, being able to acknowledge when I'm wrong, and speaking positively about myself and advocating for myself. I don't think I say this enough, but loneliness has brought me the closest to myself. And it's unfortunate sometimes when I witness people create these tiny dependencies on their friends group or on their relationships as confidence boosters or ego boosts. Not that it isn't a great thing to have community, but I'd like to challenge your ability to have enough compassion for yourself and confidence in yourself in the event that your relationships change and people transition out of your life and move on. And we have to ground ourselves and develop a strong sense of self so that at any given time, and when a person decides to leave us, we are not left without.
I mess with that really heavy because even in the journey that I was telling you guys with my social capacity and yeah, like my social capacity kind of like being really low right now. Um, I think the biggest boost. So with my social anxiety, I noticed that I'm really good. Like it starts to raise my tolerance. Starts to raise when I do exposure therapy. What I realize is a lot of the exposure therapy I was doing before like that period of time where it kind of went back downhill, a lot of the exposure therapy I was doing was by myself. I was going on a lot of solo trips around Charlotte and Maryland. I was doing a lot of solo events and activities. And one thing I want to encourage you guys if you do start to do exposure therapy is always have a goal, but keep the goal really small and manageable. So for me, like something I'm currently doing that is scaring the absolute dog crap out of me is going to more marketing events and or sorry, not marketing, networking events, and I'm currently learning how to like market myself and kind of just trying to figure out the art of networking. When I go and when I do these events, I literally like just tell myself, hey, the only goal I really have is to make sure that I show up. And sometimes I might like sneak a little sauce in there. Like I might be like, okay, I just need to show up and talk to one person. And you're probably sitting there thinking like, that's not a goal. Like you're going to a networking event. No, because I've definitely had times, not all, but I've definitely had times where I've like driven all the way over there, have peeked in, and I'll be like, nope, I'll head back out, and I'll be like, not today. Um, so I just started challenging myself, and I'm like, well, listen, just show up, but like physically show up, talk to at least one person, and that's it. And once that doesn't feel so scary, once there's no fear around that, maybe it's like, hey, I want you to go inside. I want you to talk to like 3 people, and I want you to stay at the event for like 3 hours. And until that's not scary, it's like, hey, I want you to like specifically, find somebody to exchange contact information. And it just raises and raises and raises. And that's pretty much the exposure therapy, where you start very small. You set very small goals so that dopamine can hit, so that a positive reaction and result can go into your brain to say, well, I did it the last time. Well, I checked off this box. And then you just keep upping it, upping it, upping it, upping it, upping it until you're able to gain that confidence, so that way you're able to do more activities or things within, the spaces that you are practicing in. And to Jasmine's point, it's like, for me, I noticed, I mean, my confidence was good with like solo and group things, but I noticed my confidence really like boomed when I had a mix of both. And I was doing a lot of solo things on my own, and when I was doing solo stuff, my confidence boosted, especially when it became like meeting like strangers, or meeting just, people I just didn't know. Because sometimes with group settings, at least for me personally, sometimes I'm either comforted by the person there, or I'll kind of like, not like physically hide behind them, but I'll kind of hide behind the fact of like, okay, I'm here with somebody else. And there's more of a comfort level. There's more of a comfort level in the environment I'm in, because I know somebody else. Whereas the other side, I'm just there by myself, scares the absolute dog shit out of me. And then when I'm doing well, or when I'm achieving that goal in that setting, my confidence boosts. So she's very spot on with that. I feel like the more you learn how to kind of do stuff for yourself, and you build up more of that self, and you treat yourself like a best friend, a guardian, a daughter, a big sister, like all of these really homely, familiar, loving things that require a lot of vulnerability and care and love and trust, then not only will you be able to omit that to other people, but you'll also gain the confidence enough to demonstrate that in settings where you are ultimately seen. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, she's very, very, very spot on with that. Yep. And even so, in this section, she talks about starting small, but we've already talked about that, so I'm just going to skip over that. And then this next section is focus outward. Oh.
Let me guess. You're thinking.
Here while it's playing. But yeah, guys, it's like starting small is so huge. And it's kind of like what I was saying before on my challenges, on the manifestation challenge, where it's like people try to get here, like this is your start and this is your finish. Oh. I'm mirroring myself, but let's say this is my start and this is my finish. And people want to get from here to here, and they want to get there linearly. They either want to get there like linear, or they want to be like, woo, we're doing great. And it's like, life's not like that. You're going to be doing a lot of this. And life itself is a lot of this. And resilience, but also just life itself, is to make sure that when you are constantly doing this, because We're all constantly doing this. This is life. Sometimes it might look like a little like this, where things are going linear, and then it's linear again, or maybe it's whoop, and then maybe you know what I'm saying. Everybody's chart is different, but for the most part, life is not linear. It's not just this. It's not just this. It's not just that. It's linear. Sometimes it might feel like that, and then but for the most part, it's a lot of ups and downs. It's a lot of twists and curves. It's a whole lot, of. And the thing is, resilience, the strength, your inner strength, your core self, that confidence, that stability, that is being able to ride these waves. And genuinely, that is what life is about, if you really think about it. It's not about getting to the highest mountain. It's not about like achieving some grand boss level thing. It's really just about, hey, we are going to be on this roller coaster for life, for however long the universe and God wants you to be on here. Are you able to be strapped in here, hold on, and feel a woo, woo, woo? You know what I'm saying? Are you able to have an unlimited membership to Six Flags? That's what life is. And the more that you're able to ride the waves and ride the ride and be comfortable feeling the twists and the turns and your head knocking all over the place and gravity just flowing everywhere, the more you'll say, okay, I got this. I'm okay. This feels crazy and I might have whiplash, but I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Instead of inward. Instead of fixating on how you're being perceived, focus on the act of service that you're giving or what it is you're actually doing and making that something worthy of having. Shift your attention outside of and away from yourself and focus on the task at hand. I like to do things that scare me because it makes me better. I like to do things that challenge me because it makes me better, different, smarter, wiser by my mistakes, by my triumphs. And I want you to think about that when it comes down to being seen. If you are someone that's experiencing the journey of being an actor or an actress, and you're putting yourself out there and you're telling other people's stories and you're wanting to make sure that you are really being of service and being a vessel, I'll never forget my very first experience in the theater was so raw, was so unapologetic, and it was so...
I'm just gonna pause there because I don't want to take too much, because if this is resonating and you want to watch all of it, I very much encourage you to go watch the whole video. But to extend onto her point, I think that's why I'm so gung-ho on doing those goals when I am out and I'm doing the exposure therapy, because some of the goals can be servicing, you know? Like, for instance, I wanted to do this live tonight because I'm really feeling a little scared and nervous about being seen. And, I had an incident today where I was just straight up terrified. Like, I just was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And I sat in that discomfort and I was like, hey, the only goal for today, like, you don't have to be anything. And I think, like, the fear of being seen and, like, social anxiety kind of just mixed all in, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm acting this, I'm acting that. And I was like, there's just a point where I was like, hey, The only goal I really had was to show up for a friend. And I did that. And that's all I need to do. You know, like that is it. Right? And to her point of servicing, that like you can make that your goal. Like when I go back to like the networking, all I have is like, okay, I'm just trying to show up and talk to somebody and then go home. But you know, maybe if you want to make it a more holistic goal, maybe you can say, hey, the only goal I have for this event is to show up and to help somebody. So, for instance, if it's networking, hey, I'm just going to show up and I'm going to try to help somebody with their business, with whatever skills you have. Same thing with the event I did today. It's like I just wanted to show up for my friend to support them. That's literally it. And it's like when I think of like when the anxiety is riling up, when I'm like palms are sweaty, knees weak, mom spaghetti. When I'm feeling all that, when I'm having that moment, I'm just like, what's the goal? And are we hitting it? Great, you know. And I feel like that helps me get like centered with myself and really understand like why I'm here, because to her point, it's like that gets you centered back into the event, into the moment. You know, you stop thinking about like, oh, am I this, am I that, and blah, 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 and all these things about you. And it's if we're being real, it's really not about you. It's about whatever you're giving to that moment. Like she was just talking about acting. It's like it's not about her. It's about what she's giving to that scene or her cast members or whatever broadcast, like show, play, whatever she's doing. Like it's what energy you're giving to the event that you're in. Like if I'm nervous about let's say meeting up with a date, it's not about me. It's about the energy that I'm giving to the date. And really, if we're servicing, it's like I'm servicing my heart. You know, I want to be my best self so that I have a chance to get to know this person and see if I'm a good fit in their life and they're a good fit in mine. It's not about whether I'm likable or I look cute or my nails are like, it doesn't matter. The service is my heart and how I'm going to best service who deserves it, and if I'm a good fit for them and if they're a good fit for me. So I think ultimately she's mainly just kind of talking about a mindset shift and literally just taking yourself out of it, you know, and not really making it about you. And I say that really bluntly because again, it's like think about the service, think about the why as opposed to the who, which is you. You know what I'm saying? Like think about the why. And if you need to think about the who, don't make it about you and make it about other people. So hopefully that makes sense. But you know, that's what I kind of get out of that. Oh my god, I paused on like the worst part. I'm gonna fast forward though, and we'll go to the next section she has.
Use visualization. Truly visualize your most confident self. Visualize the version of yourself you are comfortably being seen. This can help boost confidence and release some anxieties about being in environments where you are seen or most vulnerable. Before I started my channel, or you know what? Because I started the channel like a year ago, but when I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I need to come with a different approach. I need to come a little harder. I need to refine what it is I'm doing. I need to develop a craft out of this. I went on Pinterest and I just started looking up like different styles, like different girls, not YouTubers, but just like with my look. Like I cut my hair. I did all of this like curating of an experience and tried to package myself in this way that was digestible, not because I was easy to take, but how can I give myself in a way that people understand? How can I style myself where people are able to understand that this is like fully who I am? And it was so fun, like visualizing myself, like growing and being in this way. And this is what she looked like, this is what she was. So now that I'm in the future version of myself, past the Pinterest little wall that I created, I'm very proud, but I know that there's just another notch that I can get to, and I'm always striving to go towards that. And I have to, you know, continue to challenge myself and push the needle so that I can constantly elevate. And every time I hit a different layer of places to grow, I do feel anxious. I do feel the anxiety of like, is it gonna hit? Is it gonna work? But you just kind of let it go. I've made like hundreds of videos at this time. I remember when I've only had 5. And so I am truly proud of this version of myself. And I hope everyone reaches that point where they're like so far away from where they started and know that they can't turn back. So all they have to do is push forward.
Just attitude. But yeah, to her point, I can totally resonate with that. I feel like I've been doing a little bit of that myself. If anybody knows, they knows the whole frontal lobe amygdala thing, like where when you turn like 26 and over, you have this like little click in your mind and everything just kind of flattens. Like it's very much like, oh my god, I actually need to worry about my taxes, and like I need to get a reliable car, and I probably don't need to binge drink on the weekends. And it's like, you have a little more of like parent mode for yourself, like a little, you're more conscious about taking care of yourself and doing and being an adult, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I've been feeling, but it's also been translating over to like my look and how I want to be like represented, and um how I want to be taken seriously visually. But then also another part of that is making sure that, like, I'm a big kid at heart, so it's still making sure that I'm having fun with it, and I'm being true to myself, and I'm not like being too like frumpy or too like, oh, I have to be an adult, so I'm just gonna dress like it's like, no, it's like two things where it's like I want to like I want to represent myself in this way. However, I want to still stay true to myself and my personality and who I am. So I definitely get her, and I feel like in doing that, when you translate yourself physically and visually, you're then able to really like tune into yourself on the inside. And sometimes people think about it like vice versa, but it's really kind of both. It's really this like symbiotic um dance, if you will, or orchestra if you want to be like really artsy fartsy about it. Because if you've ever seen people that like, they work out and they lose a bunch of weight and then they gain confidence, it's like it's not inherently because of the weight loss. Sometimes, like it is, and that's the physical side. But in here, there's this spirit and this power of like, hey, I'm building these habits for a healthy lifestyle, right? I'm building determination. Like by doing this one act, I'm building determination. I'm building a routine. I'm building strength, and what's the word? Willpower, because there's things I can't do anymore. I can't just, like eat a whole bunch, or do whatever lifestyle I was doing before. There is a shift. There is a mindset shift. And as much as people just want to look at the outside and be like, "Oh, she got confidence because she lose weight," there's so many of these soft skills that you have to build within in order for your outer self to then change. Just in tune of, if you let that go, and maybe it isn't like, let's even take off weight, like maybe you are not maintaining yourself and your hair is brittle, you have acne, maybe your nails are unkept, like whatever. It's like, sometimes the physical can kind of show what's in here, and sometimes within vice versa, sometimes what's in here ends up bleeding out on the physical. And so, yeah, I mean, I totally get her with the whole look and style thing, because sometimes it starts from the physical and it bleeds into the inside, and sometimes it's vice versa. And there's really this harmonious dance of the internal and the external that then makes the human self. It's actually very fascinating. I wish I had like a book or something that depicts it, but it's fascinating to me. Okay. Okay, so she has this thing on mindfulness. It's very long, but I'll maybe go into like halfway of this.
The easier it becomes. And I clearly about whatever they have to offer this world. And those spaces scare me. And I don't know how they do it, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure before they did it, they didn't know how it was going to be done either. But it didn't stop them. And when you see someone existing in just the task that you have always wanted to do, living in the lifestyle of openly living a raw and authentic life, know that the fears that you experience, those come to everyone, but it's feeling the fears and doing it anyway. And the more that we do the things that are scary, the easier it becomes. And I think that's what I want people to eventually come to the realization of, that we are no different than you. We are all kind of special in our own ways, but we are not above anyone when we decide that we want to share ourselves with the world. We're just deciding to do it in spite of all of our fears. And if this is something that you want to do, I suggest that you should take it in that way and approach this head on, because it's not until we do the things that make us feel uncomfortable a numerous amount of times that we actually grow through those uncomfortable things, so they no longer make us uncomfortable. And I know that is so repetitive, and if anyone's watching me and they want to pursue speaking up and using their voice and whatever that means, I hope that this is the video that allows you to feel comfortable enough to take the next step of doing it anyway. Because I remember being that person that watched the videos of people that inspired me, and I just want to be able to, do my due diligence as being a part of the community that helps other people walk in their authenticity. I know there are so many people, or I've spoken to a lot of people that have said that they wanted to do XYZ, but they didn't know how to start. And I feel like that's the perfect place to be. You just kind of start. And then the more that you do it, it develops and it becomes a thing. Even the structure of making videos. You have to make more videos to discover what that structure is for you and what feels right for you. If you don't do it, you kind of never know.
And I just want to end off, with that. It's like, she's right. If you don't do it, you'll never know. And again, I love using this because it feels so true to me, but it's like, everybody wants to start and linear. And it's like, you cannot. In order to do something, you have to learn. And in order to learn, you have to fail. And, well, you have to do two things. In order to learn, you have to be able to fail, and you have to be able to be frustrated. And the frustration is your resilience within that. Because even when you learn something new, again, you go from like nothing to expert. And within that, this is your learning window. You know, sometimes you're learning new things or new niches or whatever, like new subcategories. And some things you're gonna grasp really early on, and then other things you're gonna fail, and you're gonna have to just keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. And at the end of the day, um, that's truly the beauty of it. And so, yeah, I think ultimately that's what it is too. It's like to be seen is to be yourself. It's to trudge through life. It's to be, see, do all the things. Um, but I did want to share this video with you guys because when I was like really in it, I was watching her videos about it, and this one came up, and it just resonated the most with me, and I felt like I needed to hear that again. I actually might watch it one more time before I go to bed, but yeah. So I hope that this live helped you as much as it helped me. Um, and if you were ever scared about being seen, I hope that you're able to just take the steps, like the baby steps, to just try every single day. And even if you feel like it's small, know that it is a step in the right direction. Know that it's progress, and know that you are great. So, with that being said, I'm going to end the live, but I really do appreciate you guys for just, hanging out with me and, sharing this night with me. And for those of you that are going to be continuing on with my cleanse, I will see you tomorrow. And for those of you that are not, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Alrighty. Bye, guys.